Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is our UFC 211 pre-fight show. My name is Eddie Law, out of course, Phoenix, Arizona, where it's starting to fucking feel like hell. And similarly, weird spot, Hell 2 or Hell 1, depending on where you rank them. Albuquerque, New Mexico's own Dave Rodriguez. What's up, dude?
What up, Eddie, man? Yeah, we always have quite the interesting day when we do these shows. It seems whether it's a Wednesday, Friday, but all the great action that we're taking place tomorrow. We got to break it all down, but I think in the meantime, we all know what took place earlier today. As far as we predicted it somewhat on Wednesday's show about these matches being announced, not the full, like everybody that was on stage there, but some good matchmaking. We've seen Cynthia Calvillo up there unexpectedly matched up against Joanne Calderwood, the whole DC John Jones thing, which we'll get to. Also, just like unexpectedly, Kevin Lee, Michael Chiesa getting real fired up. And
Wait, let's fucking talk about this shit, okay? Yep. Everybody's doing the Conor now, right? The Conor Nate, okay? Fucking Conor and Nate fucking almost throw down at their presser, the pre-fight presser, right? Where Conor threw a hook and hit Nate in the hand and shit. Yeah. That fucking fight did big. Conor and Eddie Alvarez at UFC 205 when Eddie Alvarez somewhat let that chair go right behind Conor and Conor flipped out. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's about getting people to give a shit and to care and hype the fight now, okay? We're going full WWE. So let's start off from the very beginning. So UFC summer kickoff presser was today. Dana White was sick, so he couldn't make it. Whatever the fuck that guy.
Right, keep in mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was sick. So John Anik's the one in there, right? So John Anik's conducting the press conference. That's cool, whatever. They do this whole prepackaged video showing Gustafsson and Teixeira and all these other guys and Gasol and Weidman, all this other shit, right? Garbrandt and TJ, which we'll talk about because that fight's in the fucking air. Who knows what's gonna happen with that? But they dropped the curtain and there's all the fighters are there, other than TJ and Cody, and of course Gustafsson and Teixeira because their fight's coming up, so they're not gonna make them fly to the U.S. for some bullshit like that. So they fucking start, on the mic and everything. DC and John Jones are going at it already. Apparently, got into it before the fucking presser. John Jones supposedly said, said something about DC's kids. Or mentioned them, and DC lost his shit, started throwing water bottles at this motherfucker. Or threw one. He threw a water bottle at John Jones, right? Whatever. That's expected. What wasn't expected was everybody talking shit. Everybody but Holly Holm, JoJo, Calvillo and talking shit, Weidman, and Gaslam. Everybody else is talking shit. So let's talk about Kevin Lee and Michael Chiesa. Kevin Lee goes up there with a microphone. He saw this shit, right? Fucking, he's talking shit, all this stuff about McGregor. McGregor's, pretend he wants to be hood and all sorts of stuff, whatever the fuck. Start talking about Michael Chiesa. Here's what he fucked up. I didn't hear the exact words he said, but I did hear he said something about his mom. He said something about Michael Chiesa's mom, and then he made it worse. Said something about his dad, or he just mentioned his dad. Chiesa loses his shit, stands up, rushes Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee comes up, throws a right hand, and I don't know about you, you tell me, but it looked like it connected, dude. And after the fucking presser, Chiesa's eye to me looked a little fucked. What'd you think?
Yeah, I think honestly what really sparked Chiesa was the comment, but I think Chiesa's dad, I believe, is like battling cancer.
No, he died. He died during the show.
Yeah, he passed away. Okay, that's correct. So that's why I knew that he got pretty hot for that specific reason, and then his mom. But we know Kevin Lee, man. Kevin Lee's been a hothead. He's real confident. He's been racking up some good wins. He's been talking a lot of shit, calling out just about everybody. Khabib, Ferguson, anybody in the top 55 to get him noticed and get him in a big-time fight. So he's lined up with Chiesa. I'm going to be in Oklahoma City for that fight, and now I'm a little bit more excited now that these guys are really, fired up, and I think we're geared up for a sick fight with those two, and hopefully it does fall through. You mentioned TJ and Cody. That fight's possibly being scrapped, and now TJ Dillashaw said he wants Mighty Mouse.
Well, tell the people why that might get scrapped.
Which the Cody. TJ Dillashaw fight? Oh yeah, well Cody apparently has like a back injury, I think, or so, and I think he's going to get some stem cell treatment overseas in Germany, and I think it's going to be like a month's time frame where they know if he's actually going to be able to fight. So it could be postponed, but then again, I think TJ is hungry to fight, so I think they ought to get him an opponent. Man, imagine that fight with Mighty Mouse. I mean, yeah, former champion.
Make it happen.
Yeah, competitive, a super fight somewhat, you know what I'm saying? So, but I think, yeah, as far as like Michael Chiesa and Kevin Lee go, I mean, damn, man, it even got even worse when Amanda Nunes, when she faced off against Shevchenko. She actually put her hands on Shevchenko as well, and it looked like Sean Shelby was pretty fucking pissed. So,
he was angry.
But what really is you mentioned Dana White not being there. I mean, do you think, Eddie, that a lot of this shit goes down with Big Daddy Dana up there holding shit down? I mean, what do you think?
Hey man, remember in high school when you had the substitute teacher? You were like throwing spitballs and fucking around and talking to that chick you were trying to hook up with after school and all that shit because you didn't give a fuck. That's Sean Shelby for your ass. That's John Anik for your ass. You don't respect those motherfuckers. That's not Dana White. You don't give a shit. That's not Lorenzo. If Dana White's there, more than likely, that some of that shit doesn't happen at least. That's certainly not Nunes. Certainly not Nunes, right? Doing that shit. But
I think so.
What is with this WWE fucking bullshit? Okay, I understand sell your fight. I understand make people be interested in your fight. Totally get it. Totally get it. I don't get the whole copying everybody else's shit. Playing tough. Look, we know DC and John Jones don't like each other. That's real. That's organic for the most part, right? At least we think it is. For example, Eastside Rider on the YouTube comments says the whole DC Jones thing was bullshit. It was set up by quote unquote journalists or the nose, as we all know. So, it's so fucking pro wrestling. Now a lot of people are pro wrestling fans, so they're gonna be cool with that, right? I'm not. Like I find it cheap, if that makes sense. To me, to me, you hype a fight by the fighters. John Jones is a bad motherfucker. DC's a bad motherfucker. Two bad motherfuckers gonna fight each other? Hell yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is a cheap kind of fucking hype up. Talking shit. Oh, fuck you. You're a cokehead. What else does he say? Not the real champ. You're a bitch. And fucking DC started saying that. He started saying the N-word and shit too. I'm like, whoa, DC, settle down. That's not you.
Yeah, exactly. And it both came off for me like it just seemed like real corny on both sides, especially John Jones, honestly, with some of his replies. So it's like you said, Eddie, we're in it to watch great fighters, the best, the elite of the elite, and that's what John Jones and Daniel Cormier is all about. Likewise, in a lot of other matchups there. Very strange, man. And I think, like you mentioned it earlier, it stems from basically Conor and Nate's whole ordeal at the pre-fight weigh-in. Conor and it has to do with Conor, of course, but like you said, people are trying to mimic that effect and
because it works.
Get people interested in your fight, but yeah, sometimes you make yourself look like a fucking fool. And I don't know if there's gonna be some fines handed out to as far as Nunes or maybe even Kevin Lee, but we shall see. Sure. And I won't be surprised if there's something that Dana takes action because I'm sure he's already probably been vocal about it to some news outlet or some journalist at this point. So
well, here's the thing though, it's like I said, to me it's cheap. A lot of people are going to agree with me. A lot of people are definitely going to disagree with me. A lot of people love that shit. And that's fine. It's cool. Yeah. But I can say my opinion because I'm on the show, motherfuckers. You guys want to hit us up on Twitter, all right, at Crossbones MMA, or hit us up on the YouTube comment, which is the best place to go because I have the window up and I read your shit. So you want to talk some shit, send it on here. We're interactive. We'll discuss, argue, whatever the fuck, talk shit back and forth. I don't give a fuck. But regardless, I think it's cheap. You know what I mean? I think it's going for cheap hype up. The Bud Light fans are going to be all over it. You know what I mean? Hardcore, you and I were going to watch that fight regardless. We're watching Kevin Lee, Michael Chiesa regardless. We're watching, Jones, DC2 regardless. We're watching every one of those fights no matter what. You know what I mean? But it's to me, it's the cheap pro wrestling type of fucking tactics, man.
Yeah, and it seemed like Weidman and Gastelum just sort of kept it real, and they're like,
and take out of the entire group, Weidman, Gastelum, Cabillo, JoJo, and Holly Holm were the ones that you could tell were themselves. Everybody else all of a sudden became a shit talker. You know what I mean?
Hey,
I don't know where everybody's a shit talker. By the way, John Jones, work on your shit talk. It's annoying. DC, you too, motherfucker. But at least DC's like embracing the dark side, I guess. You know what I mean?
And you know what? It could have been like 10 times worse, like on the Jerry Springer level of WWE, what it was. Imagine if Cody and TJ were there. It would have gotten way more. Oh my God.
Hey, can you name any two fighters that are worth of shit talking than those two asswipes? Okay. Yeah, first of all, Cody Garbrandt on the Tough Show. I didn't see the show. I haven't watched that one goddamn episode, but I did get sent the YouTube clip of Cody Garbrandt going "hanging with the boys" over and over again. Like, can you find a douchier person? Can you find a douchier person? No.
Yeah, I'm totally not interested in that whole Tough deal. I'm more interested in both those two guys meeting up and settling their score. But as of right now, it's highly unlikely we see that at this point. So
it depends. I mean, look, here's the thing. First of all, someone tell Cody Garbrandt you can get stem cell shit here. Tell him to call Joe Rogan before he leaves for Germany. Joe Rogan will be like, "Yeah, motherfucker, come over here. You silly fuck. You don't have to go to Germany for that."
Tell him to call Daniel Cormier. I think he knows a thing or two about stem cells.
Oh man, yeah. So I'm just saying, like, But regardless, he's going to go to Germany, get a back thing, whatever. And what I expected happened. TJ Dillashaw immediately comes out like, someone's trying to avoid a fight. Someone's trying to get out of a fight. I fucking knew that was coming, and I was just like, God damn it. TJ can't talk shit. Remember when Cruz and TJ were talking shit, and Cruz was burying him, and then Cruz and Garbrandt were talking shit, and Cruz was burying him in the shit talk? You know what I mean? It's like, come on, dude.
I mean, if they have to throw an interim title in there to like give TJ and Dominic a fight, I think that would kind of suck. But if it does happen, if they want Dominic, if Dominic wants to fight, I think he would take that fight. But it's an interim belt that we're all gonna hate. Yeah.
Oh, it'll be interim belt for sure. If Cody's out for like months or whatever. Real quick, our good friend Prior Rose on here on the YouTube comment, she says, "What happened to Cody? I missed the first 5 minutes of the show." Cody Garbrandt has to go to Germany, or is in Germany, or is going to Germany for a back procedure. He has a back injury. So we're assuming he's did they say it's a stem cell thing?
Yeah, that's what he's going to do, the procedure, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a stem cell procedure, basically, and I'm sure you already know this, but basically it makes the recovery a lot faster from the injury. So it's that's supposedly what he's doing, and I think Cody tweeted out about it too. So it's kind of how it is. Yeah. So that fight is at UFC 213. So that fight's kind of in the air. We'll find out. I'm sure we'll find out soon whether or not it's going to happen, but it's kind of in the air.
So that would mean no, that would mean Nunes and Shevchenko are the main event, 213, no doubt about it. Then, right?
If it's not Bisping Romero, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
I mean, what better replacement? I argue Romero Bisping. Well, no, that would be a co-main to Cody TJ, to be honest with you, in my book. But regardless, I mean, that's how I would replace it.
Yeah, because we know that did happen. I think the night after Advocates, Thursday night. So yeah, it's up in the air. No, we don't know if it's official, but I think according to Malky Kawa, I think there's been a bout agreement. I think I heard him talk about the Jones thing, so I knew about this Jones Cormier thing for probably about a week and a half now. Honestly, I knew this was coming. We talked about it on the show. But as far as Yoel goes, I think there has been a bout agreement, not signed yet on both sides. But the fight is there, I believe. I think Bisping, like he has to take this fucking fight though, Eddie. Like this is like moving the division in the right way.
I'll tell you what, if I'm Michael Bisping, I'm taking this fight, but you better pay me to possibly get killed in the fucking cage.
Yeah, that's why I think Malky gave him credit too, as far as like Yoel being his guy. He's saying that it's they just got to pay Michael Bisping. He's been a company guy for so many years. He stepped the fuck up on short notice all the time. Give him Yoel, and that's coming from Malky Kawa. You know what I mean? So looking forward to seeing that fight being announced, because it's the one that everybody wants to see, and it fucking man. The middleweight division, Yoel is a deserving contender at this point. He cannot be denied.
He's the guy. He's the guy. Unfortunately, Jacare fucked himself out of that title when he lost to Whitaker. So anyway, all right. Real quick on the YouTube comments. Joker is first of all, Fightbook, our buddy, Fightbook MMA says, talk about your USADA issues. All right, look, I get it. I look at Kelvin Gastelum at times. I totally understand. So your boy, you fucking hit me up on Facebook. He's like, hey, he goes, bro. He goes, did you see that the article I posted about you on my site yesterday? I'm like, no, I didn't see it. So he sends me the screen cap, and it's my face with the Gastelum story. And I'm like, I fucking love that shit. I love that. I seriously laugh at all that shit. I love when people are like, look, if it's funny, I'll probably fucking laugh. Even if it's at my expense, I'll probably laugh at it. I love shit like that. So that's a good one. That's a good one there, Fightbook, our boy Rob. So anyway, yeah. Oh fuck, my fucking screens went to shit. All right. Anything else you want to talk about from the press conference that I can't think of? Oh, Kevin Lee connected with the right hand. Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
Who else was like? Oh, Nunes. We talked about that. Nunes put her hand and like pushed Valentina's face, a little bit. So we don't know. There's no word on whether any commissions are going to take any kind of action. Probably, I would say they're at least going to fine them like $5,000 and like 30 hours of community service or whatever.
Yeah, and then they'll reduce it to 1,500, and then there'll be other like media or just reporting.
It's not Connor. This isn't Connor and Nate. It's all good. Like they don't give a shit. Like if it was Connor and Nate, that they'd be like, we didn't say anything. We didn't say anything. You know what I mean? Anyway, so real quick before we get into the actual card here. Joker says Bullet is taking. He's talking about the Amanda Nunes Shevchenko fight. He says Amanda was so gassed in the third round of the last fight that it's going 5 rounds. The Bullet wins, and I'd have to say I agree with that. Rose says semi-random, but you guys always refer to Jones' dick pills. Does everyone acknowledge the PEDs though? Not everyone does, because Cormier nobody. Does. Oh, Cormier lets it out. But here's the thing: people don't give a fuck. You know why? People love to relate to a shitty person. You know what I mean? They love like a champion or a celebrity or a fighter or someone that's well known that's as shitty as they are, or at least shittier. You know what I mean? So that's just my opinion, of course. I don't know overall, but yeah, most fans aren't talking about it unless they're big time DC fans. DC certainly letting it out. To Jones's credit, though, I mean, even during the presser, he goes, "Man, I beat you after I was all coked up for a weekend." I was like, "Whoa,"
yeah, which is definitely not a good look.
Oh, not at all.
But at least about at all, though. No.
Oh, exactly. I tell you what. After this fight, if he continues that kind of shit, it's gonna be a little. It might not work for him. It might turn around on him a little bit. So.
But he set himself up. He put himself in a very strange place today, John. Because as far as like trash talking, fuck the trash talking. I mean, John's over here being really. Oh, I whooped your ass on cocaine. So is that supposed to be a good thing? Definitely not a fucking good thing, man. And Jones is sort of like, he makes it to this fight or he's fucked. That's where we're at with John Jones.
Oh, John Jones needs to make it to this fight. If DC doesn't make it to this fight, and if DC don't make it to this fight, they're gonna put if it's enough time, they're gonna put someone in there. It's gonna be interim title, for sure.
Jimmy Manuel, that's his purpose right now. He's the interim step-in guy.
Oh god, Jimmy Manuel getting fucked up by Jones too.
But I
think Jones and DC knock that dude's ass out. You know what I would love? Rumble Johnson comes back just to fight John Jones for the interim title. That'd be legit as fuck to me. Anyway, I would love to see it. We won't see it, but I would love to see it. Anyway, all right, let's get into this card, dude. Of course, UFC 211 out of Dallas, Texas. It's a stacked fucking card, to be honest with you. Even though we lost Cejudo Pettis fight, still stacked. Now, you tell me, they moved up Jocko Branch. Tell me you would have moved up. Like, I understand why they didn't do it, because they want to keep people watching the prelims. But shouldn't they have moved up Alvarez Poirier?
Man, Alvarez Poirier is a sick fucking fight. I think that it was deserving of a move up, but I think they want to do it's either Branch or Jocko that's gonna get a good shine from the win here.
I'll say Jocko.
David Branch, former two division champion and World Series of Fighting, of course. So they want to have, they want to promote him a bit, but Jocko's like a low key killer. So I think it benefits both guys. So, and I think we do see that fight go to like a decision, the real competitive bout, which we'll get to it more. But it's basically promoting somebody else at 185, adding them into the mix, because Branch is going to be a solid 185er and not necessarily a 205er where he bounced back and forth. So.
Right. Now, I want to talk about that real quick, about World Series of Fighting. Not really World Series of Fighting, but Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje was the president. Yeah. He's fighting Michael Johnson. Here's where he got super fake. Michael Johnson can't talk shit either. Like, Kevin Lee can at least talk some shit. He holds his own a little bit, right? Mind you, he was actually using some Conor McGregor lines, and that was lame as fuck. But it really was. Come on, think about it. It was lame as fuck. But Michael Johnson was talking shit. Justin Gaethje was talking shit back. I don't know. I mean, at first I didn't like the fight with Justin. Now I don't mind it too much. Okay, like I don't like Michael Johnson trying to he tried to sun Justin Gaethje a little bit, right? He was like, you're in the World Series of Fighting and you're in the C leagues, man. Now you're with the big boys. You don't want to war up here. You don't want to war up here. And I'm like, Michael Johnson, you got tagged up by Nate Diaz. Like, you got tagged the fuck up. Now, Justin Gaethje is nowhere near Nate Diaz level. Let's be honest about that. But how you gonna talk shit? You know what I mean? I mean, he knocked out Dustin Poirier. That was legit. Give him all the credit in the world. Okay. Oh yeah. But Michael Johnson want to talk like he's a fucking like top 5 guy. And what's he ranked? Was he ranked like 8 or 9 or something like that?
Yeah, that's why he's always been like a cocky fucking guy. Like, I've never really been a big fan of Michael Johnson since the Fighter House, quite honestly. I mean, him coming in here with this like super hardcore trash talk towards Gaethje was very unexpected. But I think Gaethje is just one of those guys, man. Like, you got to beat the guy, man. I mean, you think he's underestimating him big time, but man, once he gets in there and once everybody sees Justin Gaethje in a fight in the UFC, they're gonna love this cat, man. And I think Michael Johnson is gonna bring out one of his best performances, because these guys are just going to throw some fire, man, and somebody's going to drop, my opinion.
Right, this is the guy, you know what, fucking I just remember now. Michael Johnson is the guy that got embarrassed by Khabib Nurmagomedov. Okay, why I say embarrassed? Khabib was fucking beating his ass. I remember he was on top of him, dropping ground and pound, and he goes, I deserve to fight for the title. Pop, you know this. Pop, I must win. Pop, you must give up. Pop. How you going to be talking like, oh, you don't want to war up here. You don't want to war up here when you just went through that shit with Khabib?
And he's in the double digit
give Michael Johnson credit.
loss column, right?
Exactly.
He's got like 10 losses. So
didn't Kevin Lee say that shit? Kevin Lee was like, look, I like Michael Johnson, man, but he's got 30 fights and he lost half of them. Like, ooh.
Yeah.
Like Michael Johnson can say shit. You know what I mean? And Michael Johnson's 18-11. Come on, dog. Come on, dog. Come on, man. Stop it. Just stop it. Anyway.
Tough cat. He's got some striking and some speed, but
all the
last time
we've
seen him, he was getting his ass fucking kicked.
How about not talking shit to the new guy? How about not talking shit to the new guy and set yourself up to be embarrassing more? Dude, imagine Justin Gaethje knocks him out.
I got Gaethje in the fight by knockout.
Ooh, I like Michael Johnson in that fight. But it'll be like a war decision. But Justin Gaethje, if Justin Gaethje wins it, like, I like Michael Johnson. Dude's fucking skilled as shit. But don't be talking shit to Justin Gaethje, dude. Let it go. That guy, look, Justin Gaethje is a different level of crazy than you're used to. Settle down. All right.
Plus, also need not forget, Michael Johnson has not a good track record of him talking shit to his opponent and actually winning the fight. So
yeah. As Bobby Green, how that worked out for him. All right, and fucking dancing and shit, talking shit on the way to the cage, and then knocked out. All right. Anyway, let's talk about the UFC 211 card that we're fucking breaking down. Here's the times for you guys. All right, online prelims, of course. That's UFCFightPass.com. 6:30 p.m. Eastern, ET, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. Then the prelims are on FX. Now, the UFC, for some whatever fucking reason, don't pay attention. They incorrectly said it was on FS1. It is not. It is on FX. Not even on Fox. Right. It's FX. So FX is that movie channel for the Fox movie channel, basically, or program channel, whatever, that you get on cable. That's the one you're going to be going to. So FX prelims are at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And the main card on pay-per-view, 10 p.m. Eastern time, 7 p.m. Pacific time, the normal usual time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go real quickly through I'm just gonna name off the Fight Pass prelims, and you let me know if you want to stop somewhere there, Dave. And then we'll get into the two main prelims on FX, and then of course we'll break down the entire main card. So first fight of the night on the UFC Fight Pass, Joaquin Christensen against Gadzhi Murad Antigulov. These are light heavyweights. Pretty new guys to the UFC, I'm pretty sure, because I don't remember the names very well. So after that, we got a couple featherweights. Gabriel Benitez, you've seen him on. He was on, I think, Cain Velasquez's team on Tough Latin America, the first one, against Enrique Barzola, who I think was in the next season of Tough in Latin America. Then we get Jessica Aguilar against Courtney Casey. Now this is the first female fight on. Actually, it might be the only. Is it the only female fight? No, it's not. My bad. It's a fucking co-main event. What am I talking about?
No.
Yeah. It was the first female fight. It is, of course, a strawweight fight. Jessica Aguilar came over from. Did she come over from World Series of Fighting?
Yeah, Bellator before that, and then World Series of Fighting, I believe.
Yeah, because she used to be like, I'm the number one strawweight outside of the UFC, and then she came in and got her ass whipped in the first fight, taking out Courtney Casey, who is a tough chick.
Well, keep in mind, I think Jessica Aguilar, when she fought Claudia Gadelha, I think it was a pretty close fight where some people thought she won the fight.
Oh, that's right. So, okay, now I remember. I didn't think she won that fight at all, but I do remember her taking some shots.
Yeah, it's her last fight because she had a canceled bout with Juliana Lima at UFC 197, and then before that, UFC 190 was the last time we seen Jessica Aguilar. It was on when Ronda Rousey fought Bete Correa, so that's how long it's been.
Oh, dude, I'm looking at the fucking YouTube comments. They're talking about John Jones and what he really did bust for. He did get busted. He tested positive for estrogen blockers. It was in his supplements, but then he came out himself and said it was dick pills. He used the Anderson Silva thing. Remember, he came out. He's like, I totally recommend dick pills. I recommend it for everybody. Like, he fucking acknowledged it was dick pills, whatever. So that's what they call it, dick pills. But it wasn't. Yeah, but it wasn't PEDs. But it's very suspicious. It was really weird how they did it. It was almost, to me, it was almost like, it was almost like brushed under the carpet type of deal.
Yep, but it sounded like to me too.
Yeah, exactly. And then Joker says, I'm only here to give Eddie shit for picking Andrade. Yes, I picked Andrade against Joanna. All right. I just think it's time. And I'm going with my boy Andrew Reed, who made that pick himself as well. I want to hear your bullshit, fellas. But Rose says he picked Andrade. I really hope he's wrong and think people are just afraid of being Rousey. Yeah. I mean, look, here's the thing. Joanna isn't on the Rousey, I think, mindset, right? I think she's just a chick that is just constantly training and just puts her head down and doesn't try to go to Hollywood and shit. So I don't think we have to worry about her, being Rousey, but we'll see.
No.
Yeah. Eastside Rider says, where's Fred? Still bagging groceries at the mini mart? He might be trying to get laid or getting his hair done or something. So we'll see. Yeah. And then they're talking about Kirby's getting his hair did, says Joker. Oh, get the fuck out. Joker goes, don't bring Andy from heaven into this. Look, I didn't make it up. Dave was there. He'll tell you. Andy picked Josh too, right?
Yeah, Andy has not only has Andrade, I think he had JDS over Stipe too. So
yeah, hey, and Andy's was a huge Joanna fan. Huge Joanna fan. Remember, Andy's a huge Muay Thai fan. Joanna is Muay Thai. So settle down, people. And then Prayer Rose says, talking about John Jones, but he laid under a ring in his own pee for 8 hours because he's never done PEDs.
Yeah, that's suspicious story. Yeah.
I'm just saying. Look, where there's smoke, there's fire. Except for when the firefighters show up and put that bitch out before the police show up to investigate. I'm just saying. All right.
Yeah, there's plenty of suspicion there. It goes deep. The more deeper you look into it, and it gets even more suspicious. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about that fight as we get closer to it.
Mr. Jesse from California joining us live.
Did we get Jesse? Oh, straight out of Compton.
Compton? Not today, man.
Oh, no. Okay. Straight out of LA, wherever he's at, the nicer part of California. What up, dude?
What up, guys?
So chilling, man. Real quick, your thoughts on the presser if you watched it?
No, I haven't. I haven't had a chance to really do any kind of MMA stuff today. Luckily for me, I guess. The only thing I did see was the video of DC and John Jones going at it in the back, I think. And DC telling John Jones to keep his kids out of his mouth, which I agree. I agree with that, man.
Yeah, I'm with him. You don't bring a fighter's family in any of this shit. It's fucked up.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's.
You get to see. What? You want me to spoil it for you, or you want to just wait till we get to it, till you watch it? Crazy shit went down. I'll say that much. Crazy shit went down.
Jerry Springer-esque.
Like Jerry Springer shit.
Really? Yeah. I only saw that clip, and then I saw what was it? The Motown Phenom. What's his name?
Kevin Lee.
God. Yeah, there you go. Kevin Lee punch Mav.
Chiesa.
What's his name? Chiesa in the face.
Okay,
yeah,
so that happened.
Cracked him pretty good.
Yeah, that happened. There was a lot of like fake fucking shit talk going on. Michael Johnson was trying to talk shit. He's awful at it. Justin Gaethje was, being Justin Gaethje. But then Valentina Shevchenko during the face-off after the presser put her like hand on Valentina and pushed off like a punch. So it wasn't like a real punch, but it was like a pot and then push. You know what I mean? And and that was just like, what the fuck is going on? Everyone got crazy. Meanwhile, Kevin Gastelum and Chris Weidman go up and shake hands, give a hug and shit like that. They're the only ones that did that, by the way. Everybody else, for the most part, was being pissy. Like, what the fuck, dude? So it got crazy. Anyway, all right. Well, I want to hear your thoughts after you watch that shit. So hit me up later and let me know what you thought of that bullshit. All right, we're on to we're on to the James Vick Polo Reyes fight. Now, if you guys didn't see, obviously this is a lightweight fight. If you guys didn't see the early weigh-ins, James Vick looked like shit. Now, James Vick is a big 155er. He's a huge 155er. He has to cut a lot of weight. He looked like complete hell. All right. I think based off of that, I think Reyes is going to pull off a decision, man. What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, we're coming off of Vick's last win was an over Abel Trujillo, right? So where he got him in a submission, right? Second round, third round.
I think it's been a minute too.
Yeah, and I think Abel Trujillo was tagging him up a bit on the feet. I mean, James Vick did a good job of fighting tall, using his reach to his advantage. He was coming off a brutal fucking KO of like the Neil Dariush before that. So I hope he doesn't go into this fight looking to be like the striker in here, because we all know Polo Reyes is gonna lay some fucking hammers on you. Dude. And he can absorb some damage too, man. I don't think Vick can really take the punishment that Polo can. I think Polo's going to be in there to take it to a war. And if it does go to the mat, I think there'll be some pretty legit scrambles in here that could produce a finish possibly where somebody gets caught. I ultimately, at the end of the day, see it being a hard fought decision win, probably in the hands of Polo Reyes just by landing the bigger shots. But I think Vick, if Vick decides to like really fight long and at range and really try to pursue some takedowns against the fence and use some clinch work, he probably could, piece him up and really, stifle what Polo Reyes likes to do in there and stand in that pocket, man. So looking forward to seeing an exciting, low-key fucking fight right here, man. Polo Reyes brings it, bro. So, yeah, Polo by decision.
Okay. So I'm taking Polo. You taking Polo? Who are you taking, Jesse?
If I'm not mistaken, I think Vick always looks like he's going to die at every single weigh-in, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, exactly. He looks really shitty usually.
But he always makes weight, never has a problem. We never hear him like not making weight or anything, always, you know, having a problem with it. So I just think he's one of those guys that he just looks horrible when he cuts the weight. But he always shows up on fight night. I think this is going to be a hard fight for both of these guys. Ultimately, I think I'm going to go with Vic. I understand how you guys are saying that Polo Reyes is a heavy puncher and everything, and I think we all know that, and I think that's pretty much out there as a game plan, right? That you have to avoid the heavy punches from Polo. But I think Vic has that style to be able to avoid those heavy shots and the punishment that he could receive from Polo, and I think he'll be able to really utilize his range and, you know, his groundwork, his clinch work to really make this just a dirty fight. And he's the bigger guy in here, right? So I think he'll be able to do the damage and win this fight. More than likely, if he doesn't get a submission win, like in the third round, I think he'll probably just get a decision win. But either way, I think it's going to be one of these fights where after the fight, I think they're going to be cleaning up a lot of blood off the mat.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a scrap as well. Real quick on the YouTube, Joker had to run, but he wanted to say Joker 415 says Kevin landed a clean shot, talking about the presser, and then he had to run. So he's picking Poirier, Masvidal, and Joanna. The other fights can go either way. And if you want to follow Joker, hit him up at Joker415. He's a good dude, so definitely follow him. He's kind of a crazy cat. Anyway, all right.
Also, the guys involved in this fight here, where the numbers lie, keep in mind James Vick's the number 29th ranked guy at lightweight. Polo Reyes is way out, ranked number 101 currently, and he is the underdog here at plus 300. So if you're a betting type person, this might be a fight worth betting on, as Polo Reyes could probably land a big shot and upset, likely the upset here. I mean, 32 years old, James Vick's 30 years old. So if he's going to get through Polo and finish him here, James Vick is on the rise. Otherwise, he's stuck at like a gatekeeper type mode. So look for this to be a war, like Jesse said, maybe cleaning up a lot of blood in that cage. So I'd like to see that take place.
All right. The next fight after that, we got the heavyweights, Chase Sherman against Rashad Coulter. And then after that, this is a fun one. Chaz Skelly, tough motherfucker, against Jason Knight, super tough motherfucker. Dave, I know this is one of your fights, man. What do you think?
This is probably my favorite fight on the card. I mean, with all these, definitely, high-level matchups, title implications, this is one of my low-key favorite bouts. Could be potential fight of the night. I just think it's going to be an all-out war. I think Chaz Skelly can bring it on the ground. Jason Knight shows that he has that tough grit. Really young star in the making in his career, so this will be likely his toughest fight. His only setback being the Kawajiri fight, where he took that fight, I think, on short notice. So he's looking to rise the rankings. I think Chaz Skelly, number 19th ranked currently, Jason Knight, number 27. So it's a big fight for both cats. I think Chaz Skelly's out of Dallas, Texas, right? So he's got some definite hometown support there. Jason Knight's going in there to win, man. Hopefully we'll be catching up with Jason post UFC 211 as well. Coming with a big win here. I got Jason Knight by a hard-fought fucking decision win here, where both guys are going to have their moments in the fight. Definite low-key fight of the night here, with all these sick matchups to take place afterwards. But Jason Knight, man, doing big things, and he gets the job done against Skelly.
Yeah, look, it's to me it's solid. It's solid matchmaking, man. I love this fight. Two guys that are both good on the ground, so you could even see it's a scrap on the feet for real. Jason Knight's he's like a 3-fight win streak. Alex Caceres, Dan Hooker, he finished Caceres by submission. Chaz Skelly's a bad motherfucker though. I don't think it's gonna be a finish on this one either. And I think this might be another one of those bloody wars where if they were on like Fox or they're on FX, they might try to spray paint the fucking mat like they usually do with that crazy shit. But I like Jason Knight, and I think Jason Knight with a win, if he finishes the fight, he could set himself up for like a top 15 ranking, top 10 ranking. Excuse me. Just depending on if he finishes the fight though. I think right. This is a big fight for Jason. I think it's a bigger fight for Jason than Chaz, right? But if Jason wins with with his attitude, the way he fights, the way he is, the way he talks, the UFC could be looking to try and push him a little more than if Chaz Skelly wins. Is my opinion on that. But I'm taking Jason Knight by decision, hard fought as well. Jesse, what are you thinking?
I second everything you said, but my pick is going the other way. And it's this is one of those fights, and even the odds makers actually got this right, where it's basically a pick-up fight, right? Because you could basically say everything about one guy, and then that holds true for the guy. those guys are gonna come in here and really put on a show for the fans. I mean, honestly, I think pretty much after this fight, is it after this fight or after the next one? It just goes everybody is ranked, right? Pretty much everybody's ranked
after this fight, because after this fight is Alvarez Poirier.
Right. So I mean, you got to imagine that this is the card that the UFC is kind of sticking in of big name boxing, and this is the first card after a while, a little bit of time off in the UFC. Fans like us here are going to get our money's worth just in these last this fight and the fight we were talking about earlier. We're going to get our money's worth right there. Those are going to be some slobber knockers that are going to impress either way. But I mean, honestly, if you're a betting person, stay away from this fight, because this fight is just going to be, it's going to be one of those fights where you're just not going to know when that finish is going to happen, and it's just going to be an amazing fight to watch. So grab your beer before this fight and just sit down and enjoy this fight, because it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, and just to throw it out, the Chas Kelly is on a 2-fight win streak. Submission wins over Maximo Blanco and Chris Grutenmacher back in February.
That submission is one of the fastest in UFC history too.
Yeah, very, very. Let me see if I can get the time on here. Nope, can't get it. Sorry. Anyway, oh yeah, I can. Second round, 201. Oh no, the first one, the Maximo Blanco one, was in 19 seconds, or wasn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that. It was fucking fast as shit. Anyway, all right, moving on. Of course, now we're hitting the feature prelim. Eddie Alvarez against Dustin Poirier. I feel bad for Eddie Alvarez. Like, man, that guy just made. Look, losing to Conor McGregor, I get it. I totally get it. Not redoing your deal before the Conor McGregor fight and getting paid a shitload of money was a mistake. Okay, but here's the thing. I don't know if you guys watched the early weigh-ins. I watch him because for me it's interesting. I'm a nerd like that with shit like that. But when Eddie Alvarez walked into the weigh-in room, he actually said it loud enough for the cameras to pick up. He said, "Goddamn Reebok." Turns out he got $5,000 for this fight. Okay, if you're a champion or you're fighting for a belt, your Reebok money goes up as like fuck. If you aren't a champion, you know what I mean, and Eddie's only had a few fights in the UFC. You go down to that fucking how many fights you have in the UFC, standard of pay, right, for Reebok. Yeah. So he's getting paid jack shit. All right. Dustin Poirier is coming off. I think Poirier just got knocked out by Johnson, right?
Yeah, it's his last. Man, he's just 18th UFC fight for Dustin Poirier, and he's coming off the fight against Jim Miller, actually, where he won by decision. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So he's coming off a win. So Eddie Alvarez coming off a loss, but it was in a big fight, and Dustin Poirier coming off a win over a respected better in Jim Miller. This fight, I think, to me, is set up to be a war. I think it's going to disappoint. I just have a bad feeling that it's going to disappoint people. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong as fuck, believe me. All right? But Eddie Alvarez knows he's in a bad spot losing, coming off a loss, right? I think, and getting finished in a loss. Dustin Poirier ain't trying to get knocked out, right? I think it's gonna be Dustin Poirier, headhunting, and it's gonna be a lot of wrestling from Alvarez. That's just my opinion, and I think, because when people hype up big fights, a lot of the times they're like they disappoint a little bit, or sometimes a lot. This is just one. I just have a really bad feeling it's gonna disappoint. I really hope I'm wrong. Regardless, in the end, I'm taking Dustin Poirier by decision on this one. Maybe even a knockout finish, depending on how good he lands. But it's just, I'm excited as fuck for this fight, and that's what really bothers me about it. Every time I'm super excited for a fight, it ends up bumming me out. Jesse, what do you think?
I can see your point, but I think when was the last time you ever saw a boring Eddie Alvarez fight?
Very true. Very true.
When was the last time you saw a boring Dustin Poirier fight? Even if he loses, he's in exciting fights. He's getting his ass beat. He's still trying to slug it out, even though he's getting dominated. He's still in the fight. I think these prelims are going to be really, really bad for Fox, because there's going to be blood everywhere on these prelims. So I think that's why they hate that FXX or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They put it on, one of those channels where they're okay with blood. So, man, it's like you said, it's a tough fight for Alvarez, right? Because being a champion, I think the Reebok pay is what, 30,000 for a champion or something like that, right?
Right.
So you're getting 30,000, and now you're back to 5. A guy that's a veteran of the sport. That's he was for a long time the underground king, right? The guy that everybody presume was the #1 155er in the world. And, you know, he hasn't had that good of a run, in my opinion, in the UFC. I mean, he's had his victories, he's had his defeats, but, you know, him getting that gold in the way he did was the Eddie Alvarez we always wanted to see. That fight with Conor just didn't really show the Alvarez that we wanted to see. So I think we're going to see an Alvarez that's going to be the old style Alvarez, the Alvarez that we saw against my boy Rafael Dos Anjos. Mixing up the striking with the wrestling, really throwing his opponent off their game, really being that elite level mixed martial artist, because that's what he has to be in this fight, right? If he just tries to wrestle Dustin Poirier, it's not going to go well. And if he tries to outstrike Dustin Poirier, I really don't think it's going to go well for him either, because Poirier has power in his hands, although he has been touched up of recent fights, but I think his chin is going to hold up. I think this is going to be one of those slobber knocker fights, but I got Alvarez here because he's kind of, his back's up against the wall, basically. I mean, he loses this fight. Now he's on a 2-fight losing streak that he's never had in his career ever. You know, 2 back-to-back losses. So, I mean, this is definitely a do or die for Alvarez. So I think we're going to see the best Alvarez here.
Yeah, Dave, what about you? You picking?
Yeah, like you said, I mean, Eddie Alvarez from Red Panty Night to this fight here. I mean, no knock to Dustin. It's a good comeback fight for
real quick. Alvarez. He didn't get no red panties. He didn't get paid shit in that fight. He didn't renegotiate like he fucking should have. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, like Jesse was saying though, we didn't get to see the fighter that Eddie Alvarez is, man. I mean, anytime we see him in an exciting fight like the Chandler trilogy that they had, he got tagged up. It was a fucking war in the later rounds. He stuck around. The problem it was with Conor is Conor hits way fucking hard, tagged him up, and he wasn't able to recover. I think it'll be a fight here where it's going to go one way or the other. I think Dustin Poirier tags him up and is the harder hitter here, and he's able to weather that storm and drag it out to just a 3-round decision. Because I don't think Eddie Alvarez is going to dominate Poirier as far in the wrestling department. In the clinch battles, he may win some scrambles there and earn some takedowns, but Dustin Poirier is going to want to get this fight to the feet. But on the ground, he's going to be dangerous too as well. It showed in like the Joseph Duffy fight where Duffy on the feet was tagging Poirier up. Poirier decided to take him down after he had a broken fucking nose. And it was a fight that really Dustin Poirier propelled him. He looked like he learned a lot there. And then even the Jim Miller decision, he looked like he was very tough in the later rounds and knows what he needs to do to win in that octagon. It's his 16th or 18th UFC fight. So Poirier's been around for a while. I think he's only, like 31 years old. So still plenty of years to improve. And he's always constantly improving, coming from a great camp like American Top Team. This card is heavily stacked with American Top Team guys. They've all been prepping for this card. So I'd like to see Dustin Poirier earn probably the biggest win of his career here against Eddie Alvarez and put Eddie Alvarez in that weird spot, like Jesse said, where it's 2 losses in a row, the whole Reebok thing. So Eddie Alvarez is against the wall, though. I agree to that. And if he doesn't pull out an impressive win here, he's going to put himself in a strange place. And I think Dustin Poirier shines in a very competitive, probably bloody fucking fight, though, like you guys are saying. I'd agree to that.
Definitely. Pyro says it will be super violent. I hope so. I sure fucking hope so. Now what's up?
If we're all smart, then we'd probably invest in whatever product that is that they're going to be spraying on the octagon, because they're probably going to be buying a lot of it tomorrow. So we should probably invest in it.
Yeah.
All right, man.
You know what's weird too? Usually that happens when there's like a delay in some UFC events, a couple weeks off. I think we've seen it before, where that card after the 2-week delay produced like some bloody fucking battles where guys are just ready to go. So I see that happening here, though. That's very interesting. You guys mentioned that shit.
Yeah, I sure hope so. I want a fight, but I fucking just have a shitty feeling it's gonna suck. But hey, let's hope I'm wrong. All right, let's hope I'm anti-jinxing it. Anyway, all right. Move on to the main card. Of course, Cejudo. Pettis is off the card. Cejudo broke his hand or injured his hand 2 weeks ago. Thought it was getting better. Apparently, was getting ready on fight week. Hit a mitt. Fucked his hand up. So now he's out. That's the story that I read. So now we get Christoph Jocko against David Branch. Of course, David Branch, most people won't know him because he's coming World Series of Fighting, but he was their champion. In fact, he was a 2-division champion. I believe he was middleweight and light heavyweight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So 2-division champion, World Series of Fighting. You take from that what you will. Most people aren't giving that any kind of credit. I'm honestly not, but whatever. But Jocko's a fucking serious dude. Jocko's legit, in my opinion. All right, I think he's legit as fuck. I think we're about to see David Branch get fucked up by Christoph Jocko. Now, I don't doubt that David Branch is going to make this competitive for at least the first round or two. I think Jocko's going to fuck him up in the third round and finish him up. But that's just me. I've seen David Branch fight fucking few times, and I'm never impressed with what I see. I really am not. But Jesse's giving me the wild look. So what are you thinking?
No, you know what? I think not only a lot of people out there in the MMA space agree with you, but I think even the UFC agrees with you. I mean, a 2-division champion coming from an organization that the UFC semi-respected, and they're giving him they put him on the undercard. They put him against a guy that, you know, I don't think, you know, as we call them, the Bud Light fans would even know. Yeah, that's the ultimate disrespect. I mean, you know, that's just horrible. But I think you're right, man. I think David Branch is the type of fighter that does well outside of the UFC. He probably beats 99.9% of the.
Real quick, this is the second time in the UFC, right?
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
Sorry, continue.
I think the first time he went 3-0 and got the boot, right? I think
his last fight, Rismar Palhares, I think, like leg locked him or something, and that was it.
Yeah. I know for sure Palhares jacked him up, but I don't even think he got a win in the UFC his last time around. So I mean, I just think he's that type of fighter that has that, like, has a level, right? And I think we've seen what that level is and where that can take him, and that's being a champion outside of the UFC. I think once he gets into the UFC, and it's strange, right? Because you see these guys that are in the UFC and they go elsewhere and they just dominate, but once they get back into the UFC, they just got nothing for these guys, and it's almost like it's a different level of fighter that they're encountering, right? So you know, it's just interesting, man. I mean, you know, once you think of a UFC fighter, a UFC caliber guy going out there and getting championships and stuff, you would think him coming back to the UFC, getting that experience under him and really becoming, you know, just maturing as an MMA fighter, you would think he'd do a better performance in the UFC. But I agree with Eddie. I just don't think that David Branch has ever been that impressive. I don't think his skills have improved enough to where I can be like, wow, this is going to be a coming out party. I think if he wins this fight, this is definitely going to be one of those fights where it's not going to be an exciting fight. And I think it's going to be David Branch really relying on his wrestling and his clinch work, you know, just kind of basically just avoiding a lot of the damage that Jocko is going to be able to hit him with, you know. And Jocko, he produces some heavy hands, lots of damage. And I think that's going to be the difference here. And I think Jocko's going to win this fight, you know, in a very, very, you know, he's going to put a stamp on this fight. I think he's really going to put away David Branch. And I feel sorry for David Branch for coming into the UFC at this time. You know, I think he's past his prime at this point. And I just, you know, I could be eating my words on Monday, but I really don't think that he's going to impress anybody in this debut in the UFC for the second time.
Yeah, so David Branch, from what I can see, went 2-2. His 2 wins were decisions. His 2 losses, he got knocked the fuck out in a slam. He got slam knocked out by Gerald Harris in the second round. And then, in the third round, right? And then, Husman Palhares got him in a heel hook in the second round. So he got finished in his 2 losses. So now he's back. By the way, he also lost to Anthony Johnson in Titan FC. And David Branch, he didn't get knocked out, though. He lost a decision fight. And also David Branch, I believe, also fought for Bellator, if I'm not mistaken. So he's been everywhere, right? A lot of experience. Give him all that if you want to. Lots of miles, a ridiculous amount of miles in this guy. Bad time to come in and take on a young cat, I think, for sure. And real quick, a couple YouTube comments here. Priya is taking Jocko. She says Jocko for sure. Hardcore MMA shows says Branch is getting fucked up. Branch don't want to clinch with Jocko. And then Priya says, I think Branch will be around top 15. But Jocko's only 27 and definitely a future champion. Look, I like Jocko, man. That kid's under the radar right now. All he needs, look, he might be getting set up by Branch. Or Branch might be getting set up here. Jocko might be using him to move up. Like, I just beat a former 2-division champion. What's up? Give me somebody. You know what I mean? So I think it'll be interesting. Dave, who you picking?
Yeah, I think you guys made a lot of great points there. It's a fight for the hardcores. I mean, Bud Light fans have no fucking clue who either of these guys are.
Yeah.
So But I think, yeah, man, it's going to go one way or the other. I think David Branch, if he's going to do his thing, returning to the UFC against a tough guy in Jocko, it's going to be not a really, like, it's going to be a boring fight, but he'll do his thing. Because if you watch David Branch fight before, he uses his wrestling, Renzo Gracie guy. He's pretty skilled. He's up there in age, like Jesse said. He's 35 years old, got a lot of miles on him. He was actually, like you mentioned it, Eddie, Anthony Johnson's first victim en route to him coming back to the UFC. So since then, he hasn't lost a fight. And was a dual weight class champion down in World Series of Fighting. So he's got a lot to prove here, even if it is against a guy named Jocko, who people are probably never heard of this guy in their fucking life, but he's ranked number 12 in the world. It's an exciting. He's got an exciting style, man. Anywhere the fight goes, I'm favoring Jocko here. I think, like I said, it goes the way of Branch fighting a boring fight, or Jocko gets him out of there in under 2. And I think Jocko shines, man. I think it's his time right now. He cracks the top 10 in a win, and he gets nothing but competition, a notch up every time, and sets him up for a huge fight with the win here, in which he does take care of business.
Real quick, and someone sent me this shit on Facebook real quick, and it has nothing to do with MMA, but it's interesting. This is article, and I'm sorry, I apologize to people that are watching this MMA. This does only take a second, but it's really funny to me. It says shameless rise of beg packers. Apparently, like Western dude, like hippies, basically Western people are begging for money to support their trip around the world. So they're begging people for money while they're sitting there begging for money with expensive travel equipment and cameras. You lazy motherfuckers! Like seriously, motherfuckers. Anyway, sorry, I had to throw it out there.
But the odds on this fight, guys. It's a pretty close fight, 2+ 130 underdog on the side of Branch. Jotko is a slight favorite at -150.
You know what? Real quick. No. You know what? Real quick on the whole UFC caliber fighter. What was it last Friday? Damn. See, the weeks just kind of meld together. When I was at Combates, I think it was the main event or the co-main. No, it was the co-main. Sorry. We had Chris Beal fighting one of their rising stars over there at Combates. And, you know, it's interesting when you've seen a fighter sort of like develop through the whole, like, you know, the UFC tough and all that. And you just see that he's a different caliber fighter. But then you look at this guy's record and he just can't get a win anywhere. And then he gets brutally knocked out here at Combates. And you know, it goes to show you that, like, there are certain fighters that make it to the UFC are just not meant fighting. And I think that, you know, mending it back to this, I think David Branch is that guy. I think he's that guy that really is just not that caliber of UFC fighter. Maybe he's good enough to be, like, you know, a couple people outside of the UFC, but just not in the UFC. I mean, like you said, on Anthony Johnson's run back to the UFC, he beat him. You know, outside of the UFC, you know, it's those guys that are UFC caliber fighters that are able. David Branch is just in for.
Yeah, and he hasn't lost a fight since then, too, Jesse. So that's why I mentioned, like, if you want to know the names, I mean, the biggest name, I guess, he fought Yushin Okami, he fought Paulo Filo, he fought Lewis Taylor was his last fight in World Series of Fighting, and also Vinny Magalhaes. So I mean,
that's legit on the ground. I'll tell you that much. Vinny's legit as fuck on the ground.
But Branch has a skill set that really, he's got all the tools, but against Jotko, though, man, that guy is dangerous, man, whenever the fight goes. Somebody mentioned the clinch. Yeah, I think if it goes to the clinch, he's going to really have to eat some nasty shots from Jotko and really try to take the fight to the ground as much
Elbows
as possible.
Going to be flying. Elbows will be flying from that kid. All right. Moving on. This fight I think this fight could possibly be fight of the night, almost based purely on heart from both guys. Frankie Edgar and Yair Rodriguez. Frankie Edgar, former lightweight champ. Well, you don't think it's going to be a good fight?
No, go ahead.
Go ahead, Jesse. No, go ahead. Who are you picking? Go ahead. No, seriously, go ahead. I'll go second. Go ahead.
I just laugh because you say this is going to be dictated by heart. I think this is going to be Frankie Edgar basically beating the living hell out of Yair.
Get the fuck out.
That I know. I better hide myself for the next couple days because the Mexican.
Don't go outside. You're in LA, dude. Don't go outside. You're in like Mexico Junior.
But yeah, you know what? I think Yair is a great fighter. I think he's got a lot of potential. But I was looking over his record, and he got one finish in his last couple fights. I think out of 5 fights he's had in the UFC, only one finish. All the other ones were split decision, split decision, split decision, and I believe split decision.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he's eking out these wins. He looks exciting. He looks like he's a great fighter, and he has the potential to be better. I just don't think this is the time to put him up against a guy like Frankie Edgar. I think this is the time you put him against maybe number 20 ranked.
Darren Elkins.
18.
Stop trying to kill my fucking fighters, dude. Try to send him a zombie and shit. God damn it. Go ahead, Jesse.
That actually would be a good test of Yair's heart and ability to really mix the whole game together.
Right,
but
real quick. You're right. Sorry, you're right about split decisions. It's 2 finishes, and I completely forgot. I knew there was one I was missing. Andre Fili got knocked the fuck out by Yair. Sorry,
yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. What's the other one?
BJ Penn.
Oh.
Yeah, he knocked the shit out of BJ Penn for I know. I don't count it either. Go ahead, sorry.
I think a fly landed on BJ and knocked him out. Anyway.
Sorry, that was good.
It's one of those things, I like hanging on to the bandwagon. I have my hand on it. I'm just not fully committed to Yair until I see this test and he passes it. Because BJ, he's just not the same BJ. Andre Fili, I mean, he's a great fighter, but I mean, he just isn't the best striker. And he gave Yair the opportunity to really land that technique. I mean, think about it. He took a split decision from what's his name? Leroy, right? That's one of his wins. A guy that most people run through. He's awkward, but most people just beat that guy on their way to becoming ranked, and he had trouble with him. Granted, it was a while back, but still, I think that there are some holes still there, and I think Frankie Edgar is the guy to really exploit those holes. Now, granted, what could happen is we could get a touch of gloves, and then Yair kicks his face off, and then I'm jumping on the bandwagon and holding on really tight. But I just have to see him go through. We got to see him go through a wrestler, a really grinding style of a fight, and really prove that he is that type of guy. Because everybody could say they have heart, they have the heart of a Mexican fighter, blah blah blah. Once they get in there and they get someone like Frankie Edgar on top of you that feels like a mountain and is punching your face, and every single round they just take you down, you get back up and they take you down and punch you some more, that drains the life out of you. And if you don't have the heart to continue, it's going to show real quick. So I just need to see him get this test before I can really jump on that bandwagon. If you guys will have me afterwards, you might not want me.
Geez, Dave.
Oh man, dude, I love this fight, man. I love both guys. I mean, Frankie Edgar is one of my favorite fighters in UFC history. You know what I mean? So this fight here is all the credit to Yair. First and foremost, he asked for this fight. He's really stepping this competition up, like Jesse was saying. Alex Caceres, the reference where that guy's kind of used as a stepping stone, where most guys just train wreck him. So Yair, I didn't like that performance at all from him. The Penn fight, like you guys said, you don't really want to count that as like a legit knockout against a high-level opponent. No knock to BJ, he is where he is in his career, but now that we're going to see this fight take place, it's the real true test for Yair Rodriguez. It's similar to a fight against Darren Elkins. It's similar to a fight against Brian Ortega or so, you know what I'm saying? So there's quite a few at the top of 145 where you match Yair against any of them, and they're going to give him a hell of a tough fight. Frankie Edgar is that guy just below Jose and Max. So Yair wins the fight here. You got to give this guy a title shot. With the win streak behind it, you got to put him in the conversation, absolutely. And I think Edgar is kind of like in a weird place where if he wins the fight and Aldo actually makes it to the fight against Max, wins the title, then highly unlikely Edgar's going to get to fight Jose. So I'd love to see Yair win this, and it really gets the 145 division into the, to where we see it going. I mean, Max is the straight killer at the top. We know Brian Ortega's got a fight booked soon as well, too. So Darren Elkins doesn't have a fight book, but there's like these guys, a group of 5 guys at the top, and Yair could basically jump ahead of all those guys with a huge win over Frankie. And Frankie, the path to victory where he beats Yair in a 3-round fight is just the wrestling, for sure, the wrestling. And able to keep Yair down, that'll be a tough task because Yair is one hell of a fucking tricky guy on his back, mixed martial artist guy since he was 5 years old. Mike Valle Flow Striking. They've been doing a lot of homework on Frankie Edgar, and I like what I've been hearing about Yair. He's really coming into his own right now, and I think this is his moment to shine, man, big time. He asked for it, he's got to deliver, And I think if he does win the fight, it'll be a hard-fought decision where Frankie is able to, dominate somewhat in the wrestling department. But on the feet, Yair will shine. Absolutely. And I think he does produce a fantastic, fucking ridiculous highlight reel knockout for the win, which his mom has predicted, I believe, or something like that. But I just see it being a fantastic competitive fight where we see Yair completely tested and he comes out on top, man. Even in a hard-fought decision, he shines big time. For sure.
Yeah, and I'm picking Yair by decision as well, but it's I just think it's like look, it's a tough test. Like Frankie Edgar is not a pushover, and you know what bothers me? People forget about Frankie Edgar and what he did at lightweight. That guy walked around at 55, still does. All right, he just started this 145 cut. You know what I mean? He could probably cut 135 if he felt like it. You know what I mean?
Well, name his what is his in the loss column, Eddie? He has 5 losses. So if you name his losses, 2 Benson, 2 Aldo, and 1 fight with Gray Maynard 15 years ago.
Yeah, and that's it. Right? Okay. That's it. And those guys are not pushovers. Okay, those are fucking good fucking fighters. Yeah, Benson, not so much anymore, but still. What were you saying?
I said Gray Maynard is a pushover. Come on, don't mention
that. Now.
At that
time, he wasn't. He's a bad motherfucker. He was
the bully at that time, for sure. Yeah.
Anyway, what?
By the way, Dave earning that Darren the Damage Elkins money right now. How many times? Like 6 or 7 times, getting paid, son.
Can't be denied much longer, man. The guy's on a hell of a streak.
He gets paid by the mention, man. Anyway, all right. Moving on to a fucking baller fucking fight. Now this one's kind of not unfair. Look, this fight should not be happening. Let's be honest. Damian Maia should be fighting for the fucking title, bar none. All right. But
you know what? I'm gonna stop you there, Eddie.
What?
Damian Maia. I know the reason why he didn't fight for the title.
Why?
You guys know why?
Well, go ahead.
He fought a guy named Rory McDonald, and that style that Rory McDonald did to beat Damian Maia, Jorge Masvidal is going to probably mimic that style and beat Damian Maia Saturday night.
So you think the UFC wants to get rid of him? The UFC wants to be like, no titles after you get the fuck out of here.
Because if you remember correctly, like Rory, after that fight, Rory got the title shot, and that's when we got the epic war with Robbie Lawler. So Maia, one setback really set him back, even though he's been train wrecking people. So people forget that fight with Rory had the title implications on it, where he could have got the title shot then. So
this fight, Damian Maia against Jorge Masvidal, you're picking Jorge.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Right, I'm with you. I'm picking Jorge too. People are gonna be like, "You're a jiu-jitsu guy. You should be picking Damian Maia. He'll be wearing, Jorge's gonna have him like a backpack, huh?"
Because he's Latino, isn't it? Damn it!
I stick with my people. He's Cuban. I mean. But yeah, you're right, because of Latino. No, honestly, I'm a big fan of Masvidal. I think it's about fucking time. I don't know if he's waited this fucking long to start finally fighting fire and everything, but I'm with Dave. I think he's gonna employ the same strategy that Rory used to beat him. What do you think?
Yeah, we said it too though about our pre-fight or our post-show or wrap-up show of 2016. We said an active Jorge Masvidal. You can go back and listen to it. Will be champion. Where is he at now? He's been tearing fools up and he's been calling his shot. And he's not happy with all this, like people jumping on the bandwagon type shit. Because anybody who's a hardcore fight fan knows who Jorge Masvidal is. Back in the old Strikeforce days, he was the man. Wasn't consistent at 55. Now he doesn't cut a whole lot of weight, and he's dangerous, man. So Damian Maia, yeah, man, the striking departments, he's gonna get wrecked on Saturday night.
Definitely. Priya on YouTube on the comments saying, people sleep on Jorge's wrestling game. Agreed, they do. Jesse,
counter wrestling will be key.
They will be. Jesse, what are you picking?
Wow. I like your guys' arguments here. I just have to go with Damian Maia. I just think he's got this last run in him. I don't think he can do much more if he gets beat here. But I think he's done exactly what he's supposed to do, right? In the fights that he lost and when he went on that losing streak against Anderson and then against a bunch of other guys before he moved in weight division. The biggest problem is he got away from what he's the best at, right? That's jiu-jitsu. And now he's incorporated a great wrestling and takedown game to complement his jiu-jitsu game. So now what do we see now from Damian Maia? He goes in, he does a little bit better striking than Jake Shields because Jake Shields' striking is garbage. I think a fist fight between him and Cindy Dandois would just be the worst thing ever.
Yeah, Maya could strike. I didn't. Okay, he's definitely like Ronda Rousey level striking though, for sure.
No,
It's better than Ronda. Get out of here. I don't think anyone's as bad as Ronda. You know what? Cindy Dandois is just under Ronda.
But he's actually done what a lot of people have failed to do, is fall out of love with his striking, because a lot of wrestling and jiu-jitsu practitioners fall in love with striking, like the feeling of knocking dudes out, and then just forget what brought him to the dance, right? Damian Maia in this fight has to remember what brought him to the dance. That's the jiu-jitsu game.
That's what he's gonna do. Yeah.
He's gonna get tagged up. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this guy knows the game. He knows he's gonna get beat up a little bit, right? But he's got to get in there. He's got to get in close. He can't play the far game. He's got to get right in there, take him down. And Masvidal is going to be a very, very tricky guy to submit. I think Masvidal is going to be able to take advantage of that. We have rounds, and he might be able to survive all 3 rounds without getting submitted. But I think he's going to have a tough time.
Yeah.
I think Damian Maia is going to win this fight, either by decision or by submitting Masvidal. I hope that Masvidal put in the work on his ground game, because he talks a big game. He talks a big game that he's one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners out there. He says Damian Maia ain't even going to get close to his neck, blah, 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 blah. We got to see it, man. I have not been impressed with Masvidal's jiu-jitsu game. I don't think it's the high caliber game that he says it is. And I think it's going to be put to the test. So, yeah, good luck with that, man. Who was the last guy that said that jiu-jitsu don't work on me, and then he got submitted really quick by Minotauro?
Not Herman.
Yeah, it was
Herman. Yeah,
right. I think it was. So
I laughed my ass off at the end of that fight. That was fucking the funniest fight I've ever seen in my life.
So, I mean, it's a dangerous game. It's a dangerous game for both of them. I agree with you guys. Masvidal is the type of guy. He is the new underground king, in my opinion. Eddie Alvarez had his time, in the spotlight. He became the king of the, 155 division. I think Masvidal now. And Eddie, honestly, his style of fighting was geared towards winning the fight, winning a street fight.
Yeah, that's what it was. The fight too. Finishing.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah.
That's what he wanted to do. Now this guy's a smart guy, because he went, talked to a bunch of judges, the commission, and everything. Found out exactly what it is that he has to do to win those fights, and he's adjusted his game plan. And now you see him having a lot more success in winning fights and just being a better fighter. That's what impresses me the most about Masvidal. He's a smart, intelligent guy that knows exactly what he needs to do to win these fights. So I think it's going to be a really, really, really interesting fight. I just think that Damian Maia cannot be denied much longer, and he cannot be denied if he wins this fight. So Damian Maia submission/decision.
Yeah, I mean, and as Priya just pointed out, that Masvidal hasn't mentioned jiu-jitsu. He said only wrestling. He's not staying on the ground. Look, Gamebred wants to keep his fight on the feet, and if he keeps it there,
he's got to do the unthinkable. He's got to do the unthinkable and fight off Damian Maia. Even if it is for 3 rounds, he's gonna have to continuously fight off.
Damian Maia's got takedowns, man. Like, he's worked on that shit heavy. So we'll see. My boy Nick on Twitter, Nick Redondo, saying, listening online, regarding Maia versus Masvidal, you think Masvidal is better all-around MMA fighter than Condit? How did that end up? That being said, I thoroughly like Gamebred, and I'm a fan of both guys. Hate seeing either of them lose. Maia is much bigger too, and that's a good point. That's a great point. You know what I mean? I like to base things. I like momentum. I think momentum is a real thing. And Jorge's on a fucking avalanche of momentum, just coming at him. Maia is like start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. My opinion, should have taken this fight. Should have waited for the Woodley fight. I think he would have gotten it. But this is where we're at now. So
yeah, I could easily see the Maia getting cracked and finished early too, though, guys. I want to add that in there early too.
Oh, jeez. Well,
where's that? You're not supporting your jiu-jitsu guy, man.
I'm a fan of both guys. I'm a big fan of Maia. I just wish he hadn't taken this fight, because I'm a big fan of Gamebred too. Now they're making me pick, motherfuckers. I swear to God. All right.
Which one is better, the jiu-jitsu or the Latino in you? I think
I've been a Latino longer than I've been a jiu-jitsu fighter. How's that? I'll tell you what. You know what's funny? And I can't. All my shit's in the fucking. because I wash my jiu-jitsu gear all the time, but literally like 60-70% of my jiu-jitsu gear is in Mexican colors and designs. I shit you not. Like, hold on, let me see if I can find my fucking white gi in here. I'm not even joking. I have a white gi. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Check it out. Hold up. I'm gonna show you motherfuckers. Look at this.
And that's why Trump hates us.
Look
You
at
see
that.
this?
Look at that. Look at that. Aztec design, bro. Hey.
Yeah.
Now I got the Mexican eagle on the back of my gi. All right. Look at that. Hold up. Look at the logo, dog. Hey, I'm legit, boy. All right. I'm from the motherland. All right. I gotta represent my people. All right. Anyway, and I have red shirts left and right. But anyway, just joking around with you guys.
Also,
But,
too, no, the fight book or also the matchmakers and the odds makers, they got this shit right because I think Masvidal was like an underdog when it first this fight came out. It's near even right now, so they know what's going on here. Like Masvidal is indeed a guy that can finish this fucking fight, no doubt about it. As much as Damian Maia with the jiu-jitsu. So what it comes down to is number 4 Maia, who people see as the number 1 guy in the title or expectedly getting the title shot. Masvidal's 8. He gets the title shot if he wins this fight. You got to give it to him.
Damn, it's a stretch, but I mean, I can see it because especially because he's an exciting fighter. So we'll see. All right, move on to one of the title fights, man. Co-main event: Joanna Jędrzejczyk defends her belt for I believe the 5th or 6th time against Jessica Andrade. This is a fight that, to me, a lot of people are overlooking Andrade. I don't think they're giving it enough credit. Whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's a really weird, not a weird fight. I mean, look, it's pretty straightforwardish, right? Andrade is like a fucking tank, and Joanna puts volume on you, and she's got crazy striking. It's really good. She's got good takedown defense, all that shit. And I think Jesse probably remembers this too. You know, because we were talking about Andy picking Andrade for us, and I'm picking Andrade too, by the way. So let's just get that out of the way. All you haters can fucking start sending you messages now. I don't give a fuck. I'm going with my boy Andy. That's who I picked as well. And I picked this a while ago, just the same time as he did. But I like Andrade landing a big punch. We saw Joanna can get hurt. You know what I mean? Now, Claudia tried to hurt her, and she just couldn't do it. You know what I mean? I think Andrade is going to be able to do it. And maybe not, hurt her, maybe, take her to the ground, finish her on the ground. I don't know. But I don't know how it's going to happen. I have a feeling that Andrade is going to win this fight and shock the world. This is my opinion. And we're going to have a second female Brazilian champion. Dave, what are you picking?
Yeah, like you mentioned, man, Andy was, spot on with a hell of a lot of predictions.
He was spot on. Dude, he called home. He called home knocking. He didn't just say he's going to beat Ronda. He said that Home was going to knock her the fuck out, and she did.
Yeah, me and Andy both on that one, so, yeah. And I think in this fight here, I could definitely see a path to victory for Andrade as far as her being real aggressive and impressive early, where maybe she cracks Joanna, puts her on her back, does some work in the early, like 1st or 2nd round, where Joanna's playing catch up and fighting from behind a bit. I think the Claudia Gadelha fight showed that if she can get hurt early, she can be vulnerable mid-fight, and her cardio is, supreme at the weight class. She's shown that she can go 5 rounds and keep up a ridiculous pace with a lot of volume. So it's going to take a hell of a lot of volume to get Jessica Andrade out of there. Look at what Angela Hill did to Andrade. She was lacing her with punches, hanging in the fight, hanging tough. She was hanging tough, but her Muay Thai skills definitely not up to par as far as Joanna. And I think Joanna's way to win the fight is with the Muay Thai, with the knees in the clinch. I think Joanna, probably not the harder hitter, but more volume. We all know that. And I think Andrade, like I said, her time to shine is early in the fight. Because if Joanna comes out and is really firing from the gate, Andrade could be finished in under like 3 rounds, I believe. But I think it will be a war. I think it does go to a decision, as odd as that sounds. And I think where Joanna does play a little bit of catch up, where she may lose the 1st round and comes back and ends up being impressive late, because Jessica Andrade's never fought a 5-round fight. So Joanna's the champion here. She's been to the championship rounds, knows what she needs to do to win in there. A lot of her teammates fighting on this card. She's got Amanda Nunes there fired up, punching Shevchenko at press conferences, helping her. So it's an American top team night. And I think Joanna delivers probably one of her best, come from behind wins, as far as her being behind in any fights before. We haven't really seen her get really, really hurt. Kowalkiewicz landed a few strikes where it seemed like she was vulnerable, but ultimately Joanna really pieced her up and did her thing in there. So here, Andrade's very young, man. So if she does lose this fight, she will probably likely be back. And in an impressive win, she really fucking shines, and upset. One of the bigger upsets if she does win. But I think a close fight leads to these two gals probably rematching at some point. But I got Joanna in a decision and probably a close, competitive, fucking bloody fight too, more than likely too.
Jesse, who you picking?
Wow. I completely disagree with everything that has just been said. Honestly, I think that applied to the old Joanna. I think everything that you guys is spot on. Had Joanna not left her camp and is now training, what is it? ATT? No, or which one is it? I know it's one of those Florida-based gyms.
Yeah, American Top Team, like I just said.
You know, so I think now with Joanna going to a bigger camp, a camp that really knows how to push her to the next level of MMA, her MMA game, I think we're going to see a different Joanna in this fight. I don't think we're going to see the one that, fought Valerie Letourneau and, had a tough time finishing her. I think we're going to see the one that took the title initially and beat the hell out of Cookie Monster and then beat the hell out of Jessica Penne. I think Joanna's going to...
That's what it's going to take.
And really, I think she's really going to dominate this fight. I think Andrade is just... I think she's just not going to have what it takes to keep that level of competition through all 5 rounds. Like Dave said, she's never gone 5 rounds. And that's a big, important detail, especially when you're fighting somebody that I say is akin to Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar holds a pace, puts a pace, and holds it for 5 rounds. Never lets up, never lets you take a breath, just is in your face constantly. And that's how Joanna is. She puts the pace on you, keeps it up, and just keeps beating at you until you basically break. Very, very Diaz brother style, where she's going to go until you drown. And she can swim farther than you can, harder than you can, and you're just not going to be able to out-cardio her. You basically got to put her away very quickly, do a lot of damage, and be able to keep up a sort of pace where she just cannot recover from the damage that you inflict on her. And I think just this new training camp is going to be all in. They're going to be able to push her to that next level, and I think we're going to see yet another dominant women champion that's going to hold on to the title for a couple more rounds before we see somebody rise up and really take the belt from her. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go against our brother here from England, and I think that Joanna's going to stay champion. Unfortunately for me, right?
Nah, he'll be all right. No, when you sleep tonight, you might get some, you're a twats and shit in your dreams. You never know. Anyway, but look, hey, if either way, this fight, I think I'm looking forward to this fight. For whatever reason, Joanna's always in wars. Even though the Kowalkiewicz fight in New York, it wasn't as close as people thought it was. People thought it was way closer because she hurt Joanna one time, right? But otherwise, it was kind of twice, but it was mostly a dominant fight for Joanna, right? But it still looked like a war. No matter what, whenever Joanna fights, it's a fucking sick fight. So I mean, you can't not be excited for the fight. I mean, really, I think.
What are the chances of both of them just meeting in the center and just going Max Holloway Lamas style?
Pretty good.
Can I bet 100% on that?
100 what?
100%. That's
I think that's gonna happen. I think it's gonna happen because neither girl backs down. Neither girl backs down.
I think the bet should be who's the first of them that's gonna stand in the center and do this. Point to the center of the octagon. Who's the first one that's gonna do that? That's a better question.
Yeah, because Jesse, like you're saying, that Joanna's going to have to be the fierce, or her performances of past where she was just looking unstoppable. It's going to take that Joanna to win this fight. And then Andrade being not afraid to get in those wars. I mean, she's going to get fucking hit, and all it takes is a couple shots, and Joanna could put her out. But I just think the Muay Thai is all the difference. But Andrade's pressure, the way she fought Angela Hill, it's going to be like a role reversal where both are going to clash. And I think Joanna dominates that type of fight. And yeah, man, somebody's going to go out though. I think.
Hey, check this out. Check this out. Daniel on YouTube just posted the submission prop for Joanna is plus 1,700. If you bet it's something to look at, that is definitely something to look at. That's what I mean. Like you don't expect it, but if it happens and you bet on it,
4th round. Whatever, he hurts her pretty bad. And
I don't know. Preya thinks Preya thinks break her down, break her spirit, and then guillotine.
Ooh.
Hey, look, Joanna trains at ATT now. They train submissions.
But here's the thing. I think that's the thing that really swung it in the favor of Joanna for me is Andrade Angela Hill.
Oh yeah.
Hill, she's not the greatest fighter in the world. She's good. I mean, she's competent, but is she UFC caliber good? Is she? If we put her in there against Joanna Champion, would we expect that type of fight out of her? No, I don't think so. I think Joanna would just run through her like a hot knife through butter. So I just that kind of solidified for me that Joanna's going to be able to keep this title. Might make it exciting, but I just
BJJ match could be.
Yeah.
Oh,
my phone freaked out. Anyway, all right. Main event time, fellas. The heavyweights are back, finally getting a fire fight. This is. I was actually the JDS Miocic won was in Phoenix. I was in the house for that one. I thought Stipe won, but I didn't disagree with the decision. I thought it was close enough for kind of to go either way, right? But this is gonna be. I think it's gonna be a really good fight for the fact that both guys are good with their hands. Look, in the first fight, it was mainly hands, right? Very few kicks were thrown in that very first fight. It was hands and takedowns, okay? And the takedowns were pretty damn even.
No, they weren't.
No, yeah, they were.
Go look up the stats.
Oh, fuck yeah, I'll look up the stats, motherfucker. All right, check it out.
Stipe went shot 19, I think, right?
Yeah. JDS got him once or twice, maybe. It was pretty fucking even.
But
yeah,
Stipe
no,
got.
I'm saying the takedowns were even. I never said the attempts, dude. Settle down. Okay. It was mostly boxing and the couple takedowns that happened. All right.
Before we get into the whole thing, have you seen the fight again?
Yeah.
The first fight?
Yeah.
Dave, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Like, after seeing it more than once, what is your guys' take on that fight? Did the right person win?
I still think Stipe won that fight.
Yeah, I think JDS edges him slightly.
Yeah. I thought Stipe did, but that's just, I thought Stipe also gassed out in the last round though. So that was hard.
I think getting into it real quick, I think the key is that was Stipe's first 5-round war. And
exactly.
We have to reiterate war because it definitely was a war. He gassed out the last 2 rounds, and I think that's where JDS really took over, did a lot of the damage. this whole area right here does not absorb damage very well.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
He just looks horrible. He looks like the Elephant Man. But I think I agree with you, Eddie. I think this fight is super, super interesting because we've got a guy who has evolved since his loss, quote unquote, and has kind of grown into being a champion, right? He didn't really look very champion-like before. Now he's kind of grown into being the proper heavyweight champion, having the swag, having the talk, having the confidence. And the way he took out Alistair Overeem really was one of those things that solidified for me that we did get a legit heavyweight champion. Not a guy that's going to be in there for one title defense and then get knocked out by the next Yahoo that gives the title for 1 or 2. I really think Stipe has the right credentials, wrestling, boxing, jiu-jitsu, all that stuff to really hold on to the title. Given that, I still think JDS has an amazing way of learning from his fights. The same way that when he first fought Kane and got utterly taken down and obliterated, the second fight he didn't get taken down as much. He did a little bit of damage to Kane. He just gets incrementally better each fight. And I think that's what's going to play the biggest role here is how much has JD observed and learned from everybody that got Stipe and how he can apply that to his own game and look for the fight-ending shot. That's what JDS is going to do, right? He's not the guy that's going to just grind you down and beat you that way. He's just trying to look for a way to, find your face, hit you with a heavy shot, and put you away. I just think it's going to be an interesting fight. My pick, I think we're going to hear NU, but I think it's going to be a very, very, very tough fight. And what is it? If Stipe defends this, that puts him in contention for being the longest reigning heavyweight champ, right?
Yeah, he's right there.
2 or 3? What is this, 2?
This would be 3, right? Because he beat Verdun, he defended against Over. Yeah, right. This would be 2.
Second.
This would be 2. Yeah. This would be second. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a lofty proposition to hold on to the title more than 3 times. So,
okay, well, then real quick, JDS wins. Where do you rank him on best heavyweights of all time?
JDS?
Yeah. You're picking JDS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If he wins, where do you rank him best all time heavyweight?
Number 5 on my top 5.
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. No, it's fair for sure. All right, Dave, who you picking, man?
Yeah, like if you guys watched the rewatched the fight, their first encounter, very sure these guys have shored up their skills and look to probably not have the war that they did before, because it probably took quite a bit out of them. I mean, Dos Santos is still showing the effects of fucking Kane on him, until his day. So, but he looked impressive against Ben Rothwell, being that he was been out of the fight game for about a year. His inactivities has killed him a little bit, injuries, but he's been in wars. He's got wins over the elite heavyweights, man. So that's why he's here in this fight. Stipe knows it's going to take a hell of a lot to get JDS out of there, and I think he does have the skills on the feet. And this time around, it's going to be key that Stipe has great footwork, because JDS is going to be looking to land that shot once he stops moving. Take a little bit of notes from what Alistair Overeem did. Alistair Overeem dropped Stipe with a shot where footwork is going to be something to look out for, because JDS, once he lands a big shot, it's going to be interesting. He did drop Stipe the first fight. I think that was sort of like where the judges leaned towards JDS and him winning that split decision. But we've seen Stipe in wars, man. We've seen him hit Mark Hunt 500 unanswered times, and finally the ref decided to stop that fight. So Stipe has definitely been in his share of wars. I don't think he wants to go 5 rounds with JDS. I think he's going to try to get him out of there quicker, but never no easy task, as JDS is just super elite striker, heavy puncher, great takedown D. I don't see a whole lot of takedowns being attempted, let alone landed here in this fight. Maybe JDS unexpectedly goes for a random ass takedown, but the clinch work could be very smart for Stipe as well, to negate, a lot of what JDS likes to do, sort of like the Kane approach. And I see him doing that as well. But he's got to be very effective early in the fight, because JDS, known tough bastard, he is willing to leave it all in there to the very end. And this is a real big, important fight, not only for his legacy, for him, for his family. He's got a newborn child. A lot is on the line for JDS here, because we have not seen him in quite some time. But Stipe, man's got a lot of hype behind him. He has earned the title as one of a great heavyweight, and him getting this win back from JDS would be super impressive, especially if he is able to get him out of there, in which I think he'll do so in under 3 rounds. I think it'll be super violent from the get-go. Absolutely violent fight where Stipe ends up winning the belt and showing up in Dallas big time.
Definitely. Look,
Yep.
and still, I think Stipe is going to try and in the first fight, and you heard the Joe Rogan talking about in the first fight, he was trying to use the Cain Velasquez method, right? Pressure, and just just pick him up. Here's the problem: he doesn't have Cain Velasquez cardio. That was the issue, I think, in that fight. Plus, he ate some shots heavy, right? But I think he'll try to employ that a little bit in this fight. But I mean, you ever heard if it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah, because we've seen a little bit of a Stipe in the clinch against Alistair. We know how deadly Alistair is, but Stipe was able to really to win those clinches. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's going to be key here. And like I said, the footwork, Stipe's got to move, because JDS, man, he's going to be looking for that big shot. And if it lands, it could be fucking lights out for Mr. Stipe. But he's a super tough bastard. And like I said, it's going to be violence. I mean, he thought it's going to be violent with Joanna and Andrade, but the main event is going to
these last 2 fights.
Violence.
So to me, it's worth it. It's gonna be sick. I'm getting the pay-per-view anyway. But all right, fellas. So I'm picking Stipe. You guys are who you picking, Dave? Stipe, right?
Yeah, I got Stipe.
So Stipe, and then JDS over here. Okay. Hey, those are our picks there. All right. Before we go, anything else you guys want to talk
about? Screw MMA FightPass.com. Screw them.
He's still mad about that. That was fucked up. That was fucked up. Yeah. So anyway, all right, fellas.
Oh, and let's all remind Fred Kirby. Fred Kirby's got FX, right? We don't want Fred Kirby to miss out on Jason Knight.
Oh, I'm talking. I gotta talk to him in the morning. Oh, thanks for reminding me. We got Young Reed on tomorrow morning. Myself and Fred Kirby. We'll be talking to Mr. Young Reed about his journey. He's in Thailand training for a fight on May 19th, motherfuckers. Fuck yeah, our boy's gonna fight Muay Thai. It's gonna be sick. If we're able to give out any kind of broadcast details, I doubt it, but if we're able to give out any broadcast details, we will. All right.
I think we'll be able to. Yeah, as far as I know,
Yeah?
I think we'll be able to.
Yeah, we'll find out, baby. It depends. We don't want to fuck up the stream or anything. But regardless, it's gonna be fucking sick. So tomorrow morning, I believe it's 9 p.m. Pacific time, making that 10, 11, 12. Yeah, noon Eastern time. So I'll put out the tweet tonight. I'll tweet out all the details. We're working on finalizing it right now. But once we get that completely finalized, tomorrow morning, myself, Red Kirby, Young Reed, Mr. Max Reed, talking about Muay Thai and a bunch of other shit that, because the kid's a fucking fight man. So it's going to be awesome. Yeah. So anyway, you can follow Fred Kirby at Kirby_MMA. Jesse is at Sport1983. Of course, Dave is at Dave's MMA Brief. Follow me at Elaw31 on Twitter. The page is at Crossbones MMA, and of course at the MMA Advocates. Let's see. Okay, shout outs to Eastside Rider, Priya Rose. I know I'm sure I'm butchering the shit out of her name regardless, but 5 Buck MMA, Joker 415 for stopping by. And of course Daniel, I think it's about saying last name, bro. Sorry. Moravian, I'm assuming. But Daniel, thanks for stopping by. Of course, shout out to Represent. You guys hook us up. This is their flag, their flagship or their flag hat right here. With that, Yep. Jesse got the Diaz shirt. The new fitted Represent hats are right here. Legit as shit. Caught myself a couple of these. Got that one. I got this one too. Same color as I think Jesse has one of these too. Cat fitted. Yep. Legit as shit. Get yourself some of that gear. Go to reptheadvocates.com. Of course, that's reptheadvocates.com. Hook yourself up. Hook your mom up. All right. Mother's Day this weekend is Sunday. All right. Yeah. I'm working on that already. I got it all settled out. My mom's gonna be happy. It's gonna be great. Good time. All right, fellas. For myself, Fred Kirby, Jesse Hirokawa, David Rodriguez, and the whole MMA crew, MMA Advocates crew, make sure you shoot your shit with us tomorrow during the event. I'm sure we'll all be watching. Y'all have a good night, and good night, Wilshire.